Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over this great email that was sent from a subscriber. This is from a guy, he's 43 years old, he is a naval officer and a father. Been married for many years and in a great marriage. Very rare. And this guy is truly an alpha. And he is an alpha who raised his children, 2 sons and a girl, in that old school way. Unfortunately, his teachings and good advice went in one ear out the other with his oldest son, who joined the military and at 19 years old got married to one train wreck of a gal. And this story is all about the guy's background, how he raised his kids, and everything that happened to his son. And it was an absolute nightmare. This gal was a nightmare. So bad that after the divorce, he tried to have him taken care of, if you will. And amongst all the madness of the story here, his son, who, believe me, got more smacks than I've probably given in a long time, the son is now, with the love of his father and the tough love of his old man here, now back on track, doing well, and the gal is like literally in a mental institution, that type of thing. And this story is a great example why it's so important that young men have great mentors to teach them some old school values, traditional masculinity, all those things. However, as much as a father or a grandfather or uncle or whatever can do to help the young guys out there, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink it. And so you can do so much, but then if they mess up, they mess up. But you give the tough love and you try to coach them and encourage them. And this is a great story why so many boys need fathers and masculine role models, and it is something that has become more and more absent in today's world. This is why I do what I do. So this is definitely what you will all enjoy, but particularly you young guys that are listening, listen to this story, listen to me, listen to this guy, listen to your mentors, your elders to help you. You don't know everything, even though your teenage or young early 20s mentality is that you know everything. And this is a really good one about, that lesson there, and you'll see how this whole thing plays out. He says, "Greetings, SSM. A sincere thank you, brother, for your online content and ability to preach and help young men gravitate towards a life fulfilled with self-value and long-term success. I steadily watched your content to share with and educate my 17 and 19-year-old sons over the past couple of years. Your lessons and guidance remind me of a quote by Aristotle stating, 'We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, therefore, isn't just an act, but a habit, and life isn't just a series of events, but an ongoing process of self-definition.'" And that dude wrote that thousands of years ago. Isn't that amazing? Teaching young men how to be great while on their grind and to value themselves is the greatest gift we can offer in today's cycle of life. Today's young generation needs your shared guidance and wisdom to supplement their technical skills with fundamental relationship, survival knowledge, and expertise. My reason for sharing the background principles and story of the attempted offing of my son by a sociopath ex-wife is that I sincerely hope that we can help other young men and new military affiliates avoid making the early relationship disastrous mistakes and embrace a healthier plan for a successful future. Sir, I couldn't agree more. That's what I do to help guys that are obviously a lot older along in life, as well as especially the young guys. The problem is with the younger guys, particularly in the teenage, early college stages, as we all are well aware, young people think they know everything. And they don't want to listen to people that are older thinking that we're old, things are different now, blah, blah, blah. And unfortunately, many, not all, but many have to go through the pain and suffering that dumbasses like us who didn't listen to our parents or elders went through as well. But we try. So that's what I do on this channel, and hopefully, but listening to this story, I think a lot of young guys might think twice given the situation. He says, "This story could either be posted on They Did What or Strong Successful Male, as I have a mix of information that adequately suits both channels." Now, this is better for SSM. For context, I'm a 43-year-old father who serves in the Navy as an aerospace maintenance officer, which has taken me all over the world. My parents were in the Navy too, bro. The hard work and perseverance in the military can take anyone, such as myself, from a poverty background to success. As a naval officer with 25 years, I'm responsible for depot-level maintenance and readiness spanning multiple tactical and transport aircraft configurations, with a staff of 488 personnel and an annual $700 million budget supporting Department of Navy wing and squadron operations along with humanitarian missions all over the world. My family and I also relocated to Florida in December 2022. Hey, Another Floridian. You're almost your 1 year anniversary. I hope you're enjoying as much as I am, and I've only been here 6 weeks. And I've thoroughly enjoyed our tour thus far, minus the crazy lightning storms. Best of luck down here in the South, brother. Dude, I love it down here. One of the best decisions I've made in a long time, aside from starting this channel 4 years ago. I am now a relationship guy, although I started off as a Chad based on the guidance and principles of my father and stepdad. I was, however, extremely fortunate to partner with a high-valued woman who helped catapult my success in life. I was the standard blonde-haired, blue-eyed, 6-foot male with a six-pack, concurrently dating 5 women when I met my future wife at 19 years old. Simply, my Chad mindset was not caring about any woman's emotional well-being, as my only priority was sleeping with incredibly beautiful women at the time, sometimes multiple in one day. For context, I was stationed in Okinawa, Japan at the time while on active duty, Air Force, when I met my wife, who we will call Hiromi, as we married 4 years later when I was 23 and her at 26 years old. Smack! Got married at 23. Dude, I'm glad that she's been great to you and it turned out well, but that's pushing it, my man. That's way too freaking young. But I know you know now, but it worked out. But still, guys, I'm not advising you guys get married at 23 years old. And in the military, no doubt, because you know those stories. But fortunately, we have a good story here. She is easily an 8, does not care for jewelry or materialistic crap, and prefers to eat at home 90% of the time. Both humility and temperament and strong values that her and I have passed to our children. So she's a traditional woman. That's great. Notice she said she wants to be home 90% of the time with her family, because that's the top priority. Not being out with her girlfriends and doing this and that, what a lot of the American women do. He says here, she is still smoking hot, but her generosity, traditional values, and love of working with children as a teacher influenced me over time to become the best version of myself, along with a few extremely strong male mentors. Great. This is what it should be when she's there to help you along to greatness. You know, not hold you back. And doing it because she loves you and wants to have a strong family and children and all that. That's the way it should be. So I'm glad you got her. So maybe I can see why you got married to her so young. But I still don't recommend it, guys, because statistics are statistics. Over time, I developed the following value system: honesty, courtesy, and respect. First for yourself, second for others, which I continuously preach to my 3 children, including my daughter and 2 sons. Combined with a military mission mindset, I preach the following goals to my sailors and Marines, as high-value men should follow a simple path to enrich an unwavering and healthy mindset, such as, number 1, health and wellness. Number 2, financial literacy. Number 3, self-education. Number 4, positive relationships and mentorship. Sir, I couldn't agree more. You can only be the optimized version of yourself and combat adversity with a life cultivated around physical fitness and mental stability. I also endorse not drinking, extremely rare, as you always say. It's a waste of time and productivity is lost. Dude, I go out, I may have 1 drink. That's about it. You know, my only vice is I do like a little soda from time to time, but that is about it. Second, parents or mentors should seek to teach kids financial literacy and fiscal responsibility versus the enabling of economic outpatient care, as we see financial losers everywhere today with our debt-based society. As the saying goes, if you teach a kid to fish and they will never go hungry. The same applies to investing through financial literacy. Mistakes will be made, and that is inevitable during each of our journeys in life, but you pick up the pieces and get back on your grind despite the devastation and learn from the mistakes. Exactly. The problem is that, yeah, you should teach your children about saving money and having a budget and the dangers of credit cards and what could happen if you're not careful. All these things should be taught early on. The problem is, oftentimes those that are supposed to be teaching their kids this are even bigger dumbasses. So that's the big problem, you know. This is why I'm a strong advocate for people in high school to get a job at 16 years old or whenever it's legal for them to do that. Not because, you know, yeah, they're not going to make a lot of money, but it teaches them, they get the basic job experience, because you got to get a little experience, and they open up a bank account, and they can then write their own checks, and they can pay for their own gas for their car or auto insurance, which I had to do at 16 years old. The basic little things, and working with a budget and staying with it. And then let that have a ripple effect in life and eventually start investing the money, things like that. But a lot of parents don't do that, and these kids are fucking clueless later in life. He says here, if you do not respect or value yourself, why would anyone else? This also applies to 10 to 15, 20 years into the relationship. Bad relationship decisions in kids early on can create detriment for life when young men are not prepared both financially and lacking maturity to raise kids nor fix the issues of a feminist. I've seen true devastation as I served in countries where walls are missing from homes. Families walk a quarter mile or more to get water from a urine-infested river to boil for clean drinking water. Despite our conditions here in America, I believe we can overcome the worst of conditions combined with a desire for self-education and a better life by the mental weakness I continually see recycled online. Yeah, exactly. This dude's been around the world. He's seen, a lot of people bitch and complain how hard things are, and I'm not going to say things aren't difficult, but go around the world, you want to see real hardships. Holy shit. I strongly endorse degrees and certifications, but every young man should take a free Myers-Briggs personality test and learn who he is and the associated skills needed to thrive, as the trades in welding and construction are a great way to go. A young man's success is not possible without fostering healthy relationships, whether from family or mentors, but brothers, but not girlfriends. The exception is a partner once respect and trust is fully built into the foundation. Ultimately, we cannot learn to lead without first following a successful mentor. Simply choose your inner a-hole wisely, or you may endure what my son has recently experienced. In summary, I raised my 3 kids as aligned with the above goals and core values, as fake influencers today are full of shit and leading these young kids off a cliff. I cannot agree more about that. The fake influencers, and oh my god. None of your stories honestly surprise me, as I've experienced the raunchiest situations possible that would make an Amsterdam red light district prostitute blush. Sadly, the remaining story is when your son doesn't abide by your guidance and your wisdom. So now we're going to get into this. You can see what kind of man this guy is, and I like this guy. This is the type of guy that he's a leader, and I can tell he's respected, and this is the type of dad that all kids need. The problem is, kids are always going to listen to their dads like this. It says here, now getting into the story about his son, the main story here. In January 2021, my son, who we will call Cody, was 18 years old at the time when he joined the U.S. Air Force as a cyber operations specialist. Prior to leaving for basic military training, every person in the family, from mom to grandmas and all men in the entire family, told him not to date or get married to any woman until he's well established in life and his career. Okay, we all heard that. Everybody got together and showed the wisdom here. Do you think Cody listened to this? Upon graduation en route to technical school at Keesler Air Force Base, the exact same wisdom and guidance was emphasized, not only by family, but by military leadership. So what does an 18-year-old do after his father has sought to RP him for years on end? He secretly marries another female cyber operations specialist airman named Brenda in the same career field prior to his graduation. Smack, smack, smack to your dumbass son. And I know you know he was being a dumbass. And he's an adult, so I can smack his dumbass self. He should have listened to you and everybody else in the family. Oh, but he'll learn. This is popular because the military pays both members a basic allowance for housing, BAH, monies. Once married, overall increases their pay. Everything you've explained, SSM, aligns with the guidance I have also shared with my sons. However, Cody is stubborn as hell, and he, of course, did the polar opposite. The basics include that he did not know her background, had not lived with her, had no idea about her family history or mental health, along with her ability to manage finances. Worse, he abandoned my teachings and bought into her progressive leftist politics and feminist tendencies. You guessed it, everything that could go wrong in a relationship did over the next 10 months. The worse it got, the more he did to accommodate her by pulling his white knight syndrome. Again, smack, smack, smack to your dumbass son. You're probably just pulling your hair out. Well, you probably don't have much hair because you probably have the military haircut. But anyhow, all this stuff you've been, it was almost like this was like a screw you, dad type of thing. I'm sick and tired of hearing your RP talk. I'll show you, dad. With the worst possible woman possible, making every goddamn mistake. This dude, you should be tying your son up to a chair and making him watch my content 24/7 for like a month. God almighty. But as all these young people who know everything have to go through experience a lot of pain and suffering to see that Dad and the elders were right. Right there, guys, I'm sure all the things the son did without not getting to know her family, this, and this. I tell you all the time, you got to do that. Upon graduating technical school, Cody and Brenda had their orders modified to initiate a permanent change of station, PCS, west to Northern California. Oh, I'm sure she was in her element in California. During the honeymoon period, the Air Force provided the nicest accommodations I've ever seen for two enlisted airmen to achieve a quality lifestyle. Both were given top secret clearance and set up for incredible careers prospects. At that age, the housing on base was brand new and they were providing an 1,800 square foot 3-bedroom home that was amazing, which no spoiled 19-year-old should ever have. You're goddamn right. Now we know why she sweet-talked your son. Over the months, multiple video communications occurred with my wife and I. It quickly became evident issues were brewing under the surface. There's a surprise. Their location, Northern California, was near a huge amount of my family living only a few hours away in Nevada and Oregon, which will soon become prevalent. Living near family afforded a multitude of visits during holidays and helping to obtain furniture and gifts to establish a future for the young couple. Subsequently, the visits over time displayed red flags for the entire family based on the awkward mental state during the visits. Unfortunately, neither 19-year-olds had the maturity or capability of doing the work to mitigate the brewing insurmountable problems. Because they're fucking kids. Legally, they're adults, but they're fucking kids. And you see the maturity levels of kids getting out of high school nowadays, it's like God almighty. Cleanliness and hygiene are a paramount characteristic of our family. Not to mention the very strict cultural standards of having a Japanese mother and never wearing shoes in the home. I was waiting for the never wear shoes in the home thing. My son quickly learned that Brenda does not clean at all, does not know how to cook, and her only skills were artistry and slipping around, which he learned at the tail end of the 10-month marriage. But Cody knows everything. Your son is getting exactly what he deserves. I just am pissed off that taxpayer money went to these assholes in their big sweet house and all these accommodations at 19 years old. But anyhow, as in every story told, accountability is a term struck from a sociopath feminist vocabulary, as every incident was blamed on a poor upbringing and mental health behaviors, which my son attempted to be the white knight savior. Smack to your son, or Cody. Over the months, she convinced him to withdraw over $15,000 from his Roth IRA, to eat out every night, and to buy lavish gifts, although he is not exempt as he bought upgraded parts supporting modification to his car, instead of saving and investing in as taught since childbirth. Smack! I really hit him hard that one, because I'm big on putting away money and investing it. I might add, he obviously is going to be paying penalties and fees and taxes on withdrawing from his Roth early. Fucking dumbass. And by the way, guys, I'm especially tough on this young guy because this guy was raised in an environment to be conditioned not to be this stupid. Young guys need that tough male role model. This is why I deliver the smacks. It is what it is. I grew up in a military family. Both mom and dad military officers. And they didn't tolerate any shit. And it was tough love. And there were times I'm thinking, God, these people are assholes. It hardened me and helped me. But you have to be this way with boys. It's just how it is. That's why you have the coach in high school or football, basketball, you know, yelling at you. You have the drill instructor tearing you a new one, attacking your pride. Boys need this. And don't worry, guys. The story's going to get worse. And then Dad here is definitely going to his son. But it'll end well. As mentioned earlier, military members are given basic allowance for housing, BH. In this case, both are active duty military and the money's withdrawn from my son's paycheck, not to mention extra $700 per month for his personal pay was used, leaving him with only a few $100s each payday. His ex-wife was supposed to pay him half, but didn't pay or transfer her half of her BH allowance to him as required by the military. Shocker. Ultimately, this equated to an estimated value of $8,000 that she had withheld from him and spent on herself. The icing on the cake was that she had several mental breakdowns and falsely called the cops on my son twice before he finally called and requested help from his mother and I to initiate the divorce. I would be like, so let me get this straight. After all the advice I gave you and the family gave you and blah, 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 now you're calling me Mr. Know-It-All. I'm in an asshole kind of mood today. I would be twisting that knife and pouring salt in the wound there, because this is how smacked asses the young people today who know everything have to learn. God help, I don't know, if I had kids, well, first of all, if I had children, haha, that's funny. First of all, the universe would fuck with me and give me daughters. We all know that would happen. But if I had sons, I would raise them on all the things I talk about on this channel. But God Almighty, let me tell you, that if I raised them the right way and they still did shit like this, they better run for the hills. To summarize so far, the health, wellness, and financial goals were all failed based on a lack of mutual respect in the relationship. Divorce. Surprisingly, the divorce was the smoothest I've ever seen. Upon receiving a call during early May of 2023, I flew from Florida to California to assist for the divorce. He is a resident from Nevada, therefore we drew up a divorce application a few days in advance of my arrival. Upon arriving at the airport, we drove directly to the military-based legal office where we had attorneys and notaries in front of us, which Brenda signed the divorce application for irreconcilable differences and a contract that I drafted for back payments to my son for half of the BH housing monies. Both documents were notarized on the spot. Oh, I'm sure she's pissed she's got to give back that money. And good luck collecting that. Brenda followed Cody and I back to the house to pick up some of her things while making excuses, and of course have shifted all blame to Cody. Of course, it's all your son's fault for everything going to hell in the handbasket, even though he gave her everything. I've encountered hundreds of divorces, infidelity, Chinese spies, and busted drug rings. I simply do not care nor waste energy any longer on excuses. The lesson is that nice guys need to wake up and stop letting themselves be used under false narratives. You're goddamn right. To diffuse her conversation in crocodile tears, I simply explained that none of it matters on whose fault it was, but that both parties are better off going their own individual direction based on their incompatible differences. The one thing that stood out about the sociopath tendency when Brenda stated, and this is his very brief daughter-in-law saying, she said, I say whatever I feel and do, whatever I want. If folks can't handle it, that's their problem. Well, that pretty much sums up the young generation, the far left, I said it, the far left young generation's attitude nowadays, particularly feminist ones. After the shock of a young Air Force female telling me this, I simply told her, good luck. This seemed to be enough for her to get her stuff and leave afterwards. As my son is a Nevada resident, but stationed in Northern California, we were then forced to drive to my family house in Nevada to file the divorce paperwork. My son ultimately escaped a life of insanity for only $400, thank God. He initially kept attempting to justify her behaviors and make excuses on how he thinks he could have fixed the relationship. Smack, smack, smack. Oh my God. Again, after you raising him in a certain way, this goes to show you guys, you can do your best as a man, as a father, and pour this wisdom into your kids. But at the end of the day, it's like the saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink it. How much shit does this kid have to go through to wake the fuck up? Oh my God. She's a train wreck. From the short time he dated and was married to her, I was blown away at the underlying simp mentality and behaviors expressed during our drive to Nevada. I did what any good father does. I scolded the fuck out of him and re-educated him on every goal I listed above, and he was now broke because of a horrific one-sided relationship. He was missing work because of a crazy ex-wife falsely calling the cops. His health was on the fritz as his diet was filled with junk food and fast food, and ultimately that he had lost sight of his long-term goals by not surrounding himself with like-minded people focused on improving themselves. Good for you, Dad. You love your son, of course, but you gotta be... Boys can take things to a new... boys, girls, but boys can be so goddamn thick-headed, and you really have to smack it in them verbally, and sometimes that's why I do the smacks here. Being around family for the weekend was a huge positive driver. While I had some concerns about him going back to Brenda out of weakness, he surprisingly cut her off completely. I would keep checking up on that. By the end of my week-long visit in May, we successfully completed the divorce, relocated Cody into the barracks, and smoothed everything over with his chain of command. He was back into the gym and eating better, minus vaping a bit by the time I departed. Brenda, on the other hand, was attending mental therapy every day and admitted to a mental health hospital in Arizona by the time I departed, as there was far more issues than I was even aware of. I can laugh at that. On the other hand, that's probably just way that she can have it confirmed she has mental issues, therefore she has no accountability for her actions. That's the unfortunate way I see this going. As there are far more issues than I was even aware of, nor was any concern. Most notably is that my son was no longer responsible for her and completely moved on without her, thank God. Now we're moving on to post-divorce. It says post-divorce. It's now been 5.5 months since Cody and Brenda's divorce. Thankfully, my son re-embraced his inner alpha, and I was greatly concerned about temporary emotional weakness following my visit and his excuse of seeking to be the nice guy hero. I have to stop you with that. Embracing his inner alpha. I think it's going to be a while before there's any alpha associated with our man Cody here. I think he needs a lot of work. The military is a phenomenal organization for young men and women between 18 to 25 to learn responsibility, explore themselves intrinsically, and optimize the future for themselves, but only when taking the time for self-discovery and embracing their personal maturity. Despite being across the U.S., the interconnected bond with his command leadership was essential in looking out for my son's welfare and best interest post-divorce. Brenda's wages were garnished, and my son was paid back his monies after a couple of months. Ah, interesting. Well, that's nice to hear. Which she had a meltdown, commonly expected. Worse, her life fell apart, and my son thankfully blocked her and moved on, which she spiraled out of control from what I've heard. Could have happened to a nicer girl. The challenge is that he is only 19 and, of course, worried about his self-image with the other airmen throughout the barracks. Therefore, controlling the narrative fallout was difficult on him, again aligned with a positive relationship goal. He did make up for it by focusing on working out, tuning up his car, and increasing his skills at work. All healthy habits to catapult his self-value, thankfully. Okay, those are all great things. Hitting the gym, back to getting his body in shape, eating healthy, doing what he has to do to get better at the skills he's developing, whatever. These are good signs. But it ain't over with bitchy Brenda yet. It says it should not be a surprise when dealing with a sociopath and the lack of accountability today, combined with the social media, some women think they can get away with anything. Well, unfortunately, they often can. Sadly, though, I never saw these events transpiring into an attempted offing against my son. We almost lost him 8 weeks ago. At 2 o'clock in the morning, on a Saturday morning, my son was woken by a banging on his barracks door with no peephole to determine who was outside. He opened the door. Why would you open the door? And a drunk guy starts punching him in the face and then begins an attempt to strangle him to death. Cody begins fighting back, kicks the guy off him. I'm glad he fought back. And the guy throws a bunch of punches throws a bunch of his stuff on the ground and his cell phone against the wall while running out of the barracks room. The commotion was extremely loud, which Cody's neighbors came over to check things. My son had called the military police, and while waiting, he received a call from an unknown number. So obviously this was some dumbass who that girl manipulated into going after her ex for. It turns out the guy who attempted to strangle him called, which Cody began recording the phone call as evidence. What a dumbass. Well, what do you expect? The guy again threatened Cody that if he had a weapon, that he would have done something to his throat and not let him find him at work, as he would be dead. In the background, Cody's ex-wife is openly shouting that she hates Cody for taking the BAH monies, that he blocked her and she has no one to help resolve her problems in life. So they're calling him, and he's got the number calling him. You remember that show like America's Dumbest Criminals? Well, there you go. Meanwhile, your son had, I think it was the adrenaline that caused him just to wake up and record all this shit. The rambling went on for approximately 40 seconds before the guy hung up. The recording was then provided to the military police, along with photos of bruises across his face and upper body, along with strangulation marks around his throat. So obviously the guy was someone on the same base or the same area, or I don't know what. While I strongly believe that the base legal, military, police, and command leadership could have coordinated and handled things better, the positive is that Cody has been relocated to a new barracks and has been provided mental health assistance based on the drastic changes to his life caused by his ex-wife and her newest lover convinced he had to off my son. I'm sorry this happened, man. I really am. But this story shows why a young guy needs to listen to his old man and wise elders and do all the things I say about screening your girl and not rushing into a relationship and rushing into marriage. And that way you can see she's fucking nuts and all those other things I say. Your son could be gone. The entire legal fiasco is still underway as everyone was in the military, so it will take time to sort out this mess. Cody was further transferred to a new squadron while engaged in networking and programming responsibilities, extremely beneficial to his future. While he had some emotional hurdles to overcome as well as mental maturity, it took almost losing his life to decipher the cautionary steps in dating and avoiding marriage for many years. Cody is alive and his possibilities for success are now endless as he stays on his grind going forward. Good for Cody. I want great things for your son, but your son was a fucking bonehead and brought on a lot of this shit. But nobody should go through what he just did now with this fucking wacko coming off him in his barracks. I truly hope all this makes Cody wake up and grow up and become tough as you and wise as you. In the end, the only thing Brenda offered was SEX and never-ending misery for 15 months of his life. Cody is now mentally and financially rebuilding his life because he wanted to be the nice guy. There are multiple lessons here for every young man, but the key lesson is that you cannot save women with mental issues. The flags are often blatant, always be on your guard. This is why I say, guys, don't be that white knight. Don't try to fix her or save her. Let some other fool, and there will always be fools out there, do it, but you don't have to. I generally believe that no man until around 28 to 30 years old has the mental maturity to truly comprehend the consequences of a bad relationship. Even then, you must carefully proceed. There will always be a relationship and non-relationship men. Every man's goal should be to value his actions while becoming the most optimized version of himself. If your relationship does not permit you to be the best version of yourself in your career, father, friend, etc., immediately sever or have a planned exit strategy from the relationship to avoid causing further detriment and move forward despite the hardship at the time. Yes, this is a hard lesson and can be avoided early on with education and sound mentorship. We all fail at this. We all fail, as this is inevitable, but it's how we rebuild that enables the greatest personal success over the long term. Exactly. Guys, we're always going to fuck up. We're always going to fail and all that, but you keep trying. You keep on that grind. All the things you guys are good at, whatever, you guys watching this, you all have to be good at something. And that didn't happen just immediately. It took a lot of practice to master whatever that may be. We mess up, but you learn from it. End of story. This guy's son Cody fucked up in every possible way, but I truly am hopeful that he'll learn from all this and come out 10 times stronger. And one day Cody can mentor young guys as well, who aren't going to want to listen to him, of course, based on everything that happened here. I have hope for him. I hope this story sets the foundation for every young man listening to question his personal value. For many years, I've embraced a fight tonight mantra under the Department of Navy as a war planner. As a sailor, our Navy core values are honor, courage, and commitment as embraced in everything that we do to guide our decisions. While there are many definitions, a common definition recognizes that high-value men generate resources and solve problems, provide safety and security for his circle, tribe, and family, and help the tribe survive and thrive. Notice that this definition does not state saving women, therefore it is clear that a good woman is a partner to enable success by spiraling into darkness. It says, thank you for your time, SSM. Best of luck to all the young men striving to make their mark in the world. Cheers from Florida, and a father grateful for his son to have a second chance. That's a great story, my man. Again, you're a great dad. You did everything you could, and look what happened, right? This goes to show you guys, again, you can lead a horse to water. You can't make him drink it. And your son paid the price on multiple fronts, financially, physically, almost getting off and all that. But as a good father, you're giving him the tough love, and he needed it. And I would have loved to have been in that car wearing Harry Potter's invisibility cloak while you tore him a new one from California to Nevada. But he needed that. He absolutely needed that, as many young guys do. Again, guys can be stubborn boneheads. They need that verbal smack and occasionally that physical smack upside the head. That's why I do in this channel. And I don't do it to be an asshole. I do it because this is what I know they need. Because I was once that young guy who was a bonehead and made fuckload of mistakes. But you're a good dad. And so Cody, and I'm assuming Cody's going to watch this, you fucked up many times. But you know what? You're going to be okay. You got a second chance here. So let's take all the knowledge you gained from the mistakes you made, listen to your old man and the elders, and you come out stronger. I want you to be just like your dad one day, full of wisdom and great advice, and you can help mentor young guys as well. So you can either take this horrible experience and come out all the stronger, which I know you can, or you keep fucking up. But I don't think your dad's going to have a patience for another go-around like this. And Cody, you are forbidden from dating or relationships for a very, very long goddamn time until your old man says it's okay. And that means if you're on a... Well, I'm not going to say what I'm thinking here. I can't. But anyhow, focus on your grind, becoming the best you can be, hitting the gym, mastering your skills and all that, and continue on, and you're going to be okay. So, sir, great story here. I really enjoyed it. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let this guy know what you think. Give this father a big shout out here. This guy's been great. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.